All right, parents, if the holiday season feels not exciting for you and maybe more overwhelming because your neurodivergent kid struggles with crowds or noises or maybe transitions or overstimulation, this message is definitely for you. And the one thing that I want you to know is first off, you're not alone and there's nothing wrong with your child, right? This time of year in Utah is incredibly overwhelming. It's packed with tons of events, family events, ward and church Christmas parties, school programs, neighborhood gatherings, all that stuff, right? And I talk to a lot of parents who say that your kid wants to be there, but once you get there, they just freeze. Or I talk to a lot of parents who say that their kid, as soon as they get there, it ends up with you leaving early because they have a meltdown or they're just so overstimulated and you can tell that they're not feeling good. One of the things that I know is that this is actually really normal for a lot of kids with sensory processing challenges or maybe anxiety or emotional dysregulation. If they struggle with those things, what we know is that their nervous system is actually just working overtime, and it's working overtime all the time, right? Not just during the season, but because of how much overstimulus there is during this time of year, it just makes it even worse for them. So here's what's really happening behind the scenes. When a kid walks into a holiday environment, they've got loud voices, they've got cousins running around, they have Christmas music playing, bright lights, new smells that don't exist all the time. It's associated, we smell those smells and we're like, man, this is Christmas time, right? I love this. This feels so great. But our kids smell those things and they're like, what the heck is that? It's different, right? Their sensory input really spikes and it goes spiking way faster than ours does. So kids with sensitive or overwhelmed nervous systems don't just notice more, they actually even feel more, right? It's not that they're walking into the environment and it's like, oh, this is fun. I can look and enjoy all the things that I'm seeing. It's like, this is hard for them to process. Their brain is really trying to sort. It's trying to filter or organize and respond to everything all at once. And when that input comes in faster than their nervous system can shift and process it, their body shifts into a protective mode and the fight or flight flag goes up and they freeze or they just fall apart, right? So when you're seeing that meltdown or you're seeing the shutdown or the clinginess or the refusal to just participate in whatever's going on, it actually probably started 10 to 20 minutes earlier when their nervous system hit this threshold and then it just, everything that they experienced since that 10 to 20 minutes of walking into the party just impacted and compacted everything that they've experienced up to that point. So this is why we talk so often at Renegade Chiropractic about helping a child's nervous system become more flexible and more regulated and even more resilient. Because when their nervous system is balanced, then kids can actually take in more and they can handle more input without getting overwhelmed. I actually had a mom share something really amazing with me last week. They went to a big family gathering and they had tons of cousins there and there was a ton of noise and just like an overwhelming amount of excitement, right? It's Christmas time. This is great. And her little kiddo, who struggles with sensory overload, walked in and immediately shut down. He grabbed onto her legs, from what I understood, like buried his face in her lap, right? And he couldn't process what was going on. He just felt his system go into overload. So instead of pushing through it, what mom did, she said, hey, buddy, let's step outside for a minute. Let's just let things kind of calm down and maybe set better expectations for what's about to happen. And they sat in the car for about 10-ish minutes or so with no pressure and no agenda to say, like, we have to get back in there right now. Just let his body catch up with the emotions and the things that he was feeling and experiencing. And then they walked back inside back together and he was more calm and he had given his body a chance to process what had just happened and what he was going to walk into again. And then he actually was able to enjoy the rest of the night. Not necessarily in the same way that the other kiddos did, but he was able to enjoy and process it. This wasn't avoidance, right? It was just mom supporting his nervous system in the moment that he needed it and in the way that he needed it. So the first piece of encouragement that I want to give you this holiday season is, first, if your child is overstimulated, it's okay to step out, right? You don't have to stay stuck in that moment and say, you have to figure this out. We're here, we're being here, right? In fact, anytime I've done that with my own kids, it's almost just better to just step out for a minute and just take a break. So if the room feels too loud, you can take a break. If the day is too full, you don't have to attend every single living thing that's going on that day. And if the thought of just one more outing feels like too much for your kid, it's okay to stay home, right? we need to support our kids and their nervous systems where they're at. And I know for parents, one of the things that I think is like, well, I wanted my kid to have the same experiences that I did. And I think that's okay. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But it's okay to support your kid and to do things a little bit different. It really is. And it's not that you're failing. Again, you're giving them the best experience that they can and that they can handle. One of the things that we see over and over at our office is that kids under neurologically focused chiropractic care can actually handle the stimulation a little bit better than if they weren't under care. So when we find stress that's stuck in their nervous system, especially in this upper neck region, along with the vagus nerve or through the sensory processing pathways, and we use gentle adjustments to help release that tension, then their body actually becomes more adaptable. Their brain and their body start to coordinate information a little bit easier so that their nervous system doesn't get overwhelmed so much from all the things that are happening around them. And a lot of parents tell us all the time that they lasted longer at the party, they didn't stay for the whole thing, but truthfully, parents didn't want to stay for the whole thing anyways, right? Or he didn't have the meltdown this time, so they were able to stay a little bit longer. That's a huge one. Or they actually enjoyed being in the nativity program this year, right? They were able to have a little bit more fun this time as opposed to just hiding away because they were too overstimulated. And that's what happens when you help the brain and body communicate the way that they're designed to communicate. So as you navigate this holiday season with your kiddo, I want you to first do this. Give yourself grace, right? Give them the space that they deserve. And then also remember that you're doing an amazing job. Support their nervous system by, again, giving them the time and the space that they need. Also, consider getting them adjusted. Consider helping their nervous system calm down, helping their brain-body communication to be better because their neurospinal pathways are clear and free from stress. If you have any questions about your child's nervous system or you want support navigating these next few weeks, please feel free to reach out anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Have a great rest of your day.